Welcome to the Change Guru. This is where we get our change on. And you know, one of the challenges of making change is that we often worry about what other people will think. And I know there's that awesome saying, you know, what you think of me is none of my business, but it's really interesting when you're actually living it. And I know from speaking to so many women that this worry about what other people will think, the concern about being judged or criticized, often holds them back. It keeps them from doing the thing that they dream about doing. So I thought that I would share my take on this subject and share with you some of the lessons that I've learned, because I find this topic about wondering what people will think and using their criticism kind of as our permission for what we do in life. I find it an incredible teacher. And I think with any challenge that you're having, to look at it rather than something that is happening, you know, to you, to think of it as something that's happening for you as a lesson. So that would be, you know, my first suggestion is to ask, you know, what is the lesson in me worrying so much about what other people think? Let me share with you my take on this from my personal experience, and I'll use these videos as my example. You know, I've been doing these for a couple of years, but I actually wanted to do them about a year or two before I started. I was kind of in the transitional period of leaving my old job in television to starting to work with women over 40. And I wanted to do these videos, but honestly, I was really worried about what people would think, especially my colleagues. You know, I thought I would be completely judged and criticized because here I am talking in my kitchen and talking to, you know, I'm filming this with my iPhone, and just, you know, one reason after the other of why I wasn't going to be good enough to do these kind of things. So it really held me back. I'll tell you what happens. It was the before part, before I started doing these videos, that was the worst when it came to worrying about what other people thought. Once I finally started doing them, I kind of just had to really focus my attention on the task at hand. So the worrying about what other people think, I kind of like moved on from that. I had to focus on what I was doing. So just know that if you are worried about what other people think, that is the worst stage of the worrying. Try moving and doing what you want to do, and you'll find that the pressure of that completely eases up. The second thing that's really interesting and has worked for me as far as whenever I have to do something that's going to put myself out there, so I'm going to, you know, live my purpose, is that I realize that to not do things because I'm worried about the reaction to them is a childish move. It is when I hold back on myself, I'm taking the little girl way out. Being a grown-up, being a woman, putting on my big girl pants and actually doing what I want to do, that's a metaphor for me that really works. I don't, you know, to me, to stay small, to be a kid, to be childish, to wait for someone to give me permission to do something, I realize how, you know, my ego is completely getting in the way if I stay with that. So knowing that this is about me stepping up to myself, it's about taking responsibility for myself, it's about being an adult about what I have to do, that really helps me put the blinders on as far as worrying about what people will think. And the third lesson that I have really learned from when it comes to wondering what people will think or worrying about being judged or whatever is I've found since I have been putting myself out there, whether it's in, you know, videos or podcasts or books or whatever, that I am a lot less judgmental and critical and anything about anybody else that is obviously stepping out of their comfort zone and doing something. You don't know what it's like until you're in the trenches doing it. And now I have such admiration for anyone that goes against the grain, for anyone who does something regardless of what the opinion is. When people do something from their heart and soul, I'm just in absolute awe of them. And can you imagine what the world would be if everyone was really, living their truth and doing it with good intentions? It'd be so incredible. But the idea that we're waiting for people to give us permission or for everyone to love what we're going to do is so sad, because it can just keep us from living our dream, living our soul's purpose. So for me, going through this has made me a lot more compassionate. And that's another thing, that's why it's easy kind of to not pay too much attention or to let it kind of roll off my back, is because I'm in the trenches. Those of you that are doing stuff that is above and beyond, we're in the trenches, right? So that's a whole other category than, people that are being just judgy or critical or whatever. It's kind of like irrelevant. So those are a few of my thought processes from this. And what I'm wondering from you is, there something that you really want to do but you're holding back because you're worried about that kind of being criticized or being judged? What is that thing? What is that thing? Share it with me now. Just post it down below. And if you need an idea, kind of a soft landing for a little step that you can take, I'm happy to give it to you. So let me know what you're doing. If you need a little advice on what's the thing that you can do to move to that next step, I want to help you get there. And I think you'll find that the worries about what people think kind of evaporate once you take that first step. All right, so post what you're doing below. Now, if you like my videos, I would love you to get on my newsletter. Every couple weeks, I send some inspiration, some ideas, some really down-to-earth practical tips for really loving life, no matter what stage you're in. All right, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now. Hey, before you go, I'd love you to check out my new course on Curious.com called Finding Purpose in Life After 40. This 11-lesson course is like a deep dive into once and for all helping you find your purpose. That means you're going to live life with meaning. You're going to love what you do. You're going to feel like, no, once and for all, I'm not wasting any time. I'd love to show you more. And also, if you sign up, you get 20% off the whole course and everything that Curious.com has to offer. You can find the link for that in the description for this vid. So I hope to see you over at Curious.com.